think outside the box, if you will. I mean, go there, go off campus. Let's think this through. And sure enough, that's where the Mustang was born. When it finally hit, it took the country by storm.
Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Cars in Context. I'm your host, John Clor. You know, this is the Motor City, and this is the show where we put cars into the context of your everyday life, and cars is what today's show is all about. As you can tell, we're not at WMTV's studio at the War Memorial. We are here downtown Detroit, Cobo Hall, at the 2015 Detroit Autorama. We're going to do a couple of shows from the Autorama. We're going to bring these cars and all this cool car culture to you, our viewers, and we're with the help, of course, of Chris Sawyer of theVirtualDriver.com.
John, how are
Chris, welcome downtown.
Quit talking and let's get going.
Is this just something cool or what?
Great.
I'm telling you, folks.
I mean, we've been here, what, 5 minutes, and already I've spent more money in my head than God's got.
Well, that's kind of why you pay the few bucks to come down here to Cobo. It's only on the weekend. You only have that one weekend during the year where you come down and come to the Autorama. It's for that reason, to see all the cool customs and classic cars. This is why you want to be part of this. And of course, the biggest part of Autorama, Chris, is the name brand designers that come here from all over the country, and by the way, the world. Some guys from Australia actually won to get the Riddler Award. The guy that put Autorama on the map, when he passed away, they named the award.
There's actually a guy named Riddler. It wasn't Frank Gorshin.
No. Riddle me this, Chris. No, that was, yeah.
Really?
And the award was named after him because he really put Autorama on the map. I mean, really, if you talk about the Riddler Award, it's the best.
You know, anywhere in the world, the Riddler Award is known.
Right, and look at some of the cars we have here today, Chris. I mean, these are super customs. These are off-the-hook custom cars.
You know, I just look at this and I know I've got two cars that I'm restoring, and it's like, oh my God, I'll never be done.
There's more chrome here than at a rapper's dentist's office. I'm telling you, this is really happening. And then, just in case you wonder, are these really the real guys? Let's swing over here and take a look at the guy who's looking under that Impala. That is Chip Foose, the real Chip Foose super designer who's got his own show called Overhaulin' on the Velocity channel. Chip is here setting up his phenomenal Impala. Chris, let's go take a look at this Impala. This is really something special. I mean, come on. I mean, when you talk about customs, when you talk about
this is unbelievable.
Chopping, look at how cool.
You know, the rap from some people against Chip has always been, oh, you do the hot rods, you do this, you do that, or you'll do something modern, you do overhaul and do something in the 60s, but you've never really done X, Y, or Z.
Right.
This car is so totally
when you talk about
redone.
When you talk
gorgeous.
About changing the proportions of a car.
And this is his signature color. This color, I don't know the name of this color, but this is gorgeous.
Of course, the signature wheels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're all custom designed.
But you look at this car and you say to yourself, "Yeah, I know exactly what this is. This is a Chevy. This is 67, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth." But then he's got one behind it.
Yeah, well,
that has all the panels cut where he shows what he does.
You
to
think
this car.
when you look at
you're looking at
looking at Chevy, but
this
when
car
you look
is
at
so totally different. It's unbelievable.
Well, that's cool. I mean, it looks, the proportions are different, the way it sits is different, the way the overhangs are different, which is all his signature stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's got the vents in the front. He took 7 inches out of the wheelbase. He raised the rear wheel arch.
I love
He got 7 inches out of the rear deck. And the bumpers are cut, and they're
totally
different shapes.
Notice how they're actually inset into the body.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go take a look at the
white, the body in white.
Let's go check that out. It's really cool. Okay, Chris, now this is the really trick part. Most times when you see a custom car, you visually you're trying to, in your mind, figure out what was done.
What do you do differently?
I think the cool thing about this display that Chip Foose brought today is, let's take a look. I mean, he'll actually spell out for you what he's done in his own writing with these little sections. As you can tell, no, excuse us. As you can tell, he's got his own writing put down there of remove and pull the quarters forward.
7 inches out of the wheelbase.
Yeah, remove another section.
7 inches out of that section. Remove the deck.
I mean, you can now you're looking at a standard Impala, and you'll actually see, all right, mentally, what do I have to do to change the proportion of this car to make me love it more? And then when you go to look at the custom car that the finished product,
then you can actually see what he's done. I mean, the rear bumper The whole rear bumper is totally different. He cut all the superfluous stuff out of it. He put a pan in it and rolled it. And made, oh my God, I want this car so bad.
So that's why you come to the Autorama. And I think, Chris, this idea, which you don't usually see too often, of hey, walking the fan through, man, this is what I had to do just in case.
That's a great idea.
Really,
great idea.
Maybe something for you custom car guys. But, you know, there's way more than that. Let's go check out some of the other customs. But still, I think if I had to vote right now, pretty high.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let's go check these out over here.
Absolutely.
And by the way, Chris, this is proof that men do vacuum. Now come to the Autorama. When your wife says you never vacuum, guys do vacuum. Well, when you talk about custom cars and dream cars, they've got it all here at the Autorama, especially here in the 2015 show. We've seen a lot of great stuff already, and we're just inside the door. Now check this out. If you see something like this Delahaye Boattail Speedster car, your eyes are automatically drawn to this thing. I mean, it looks like it's flying through the air. It looks almost liquid as it's going through the air. This is the kind of style and design that's just a treat for your eyes here. Now, typically they would call this the kind of Bugatti style. Of course, this guy calls it the Bugatti, but that's the whole fun, the folly of these wonderful custom cars. Of course, Chris is already checking out this little Pacific over here. Chris, what do you got here?
This is the Pacific.
Oh, wow.
Not the ocean, obviously.
Yeah.
It's takeoff on the Delahaye.
The Delahaye,
Actually,
yeah.
the Bugatti. That's the Delahaye. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is the Bugatti, the magical all aluminum car that everybody said it would be worth billions and millions of dollars if you ever put it together.
Right. Well, this is the takeoff of the 57S Bugatti.
Yeah, look
the thing
at
that's
that.
really funny about it is I was just reading this. It says performance tuned by Koala Motorsports in Novelty, Ohio. Novelty, Ohio.
That's a novelty.
That's
a novelty.
That
Look
is
at that.
wild.
I mean, you can see how. Remember on the original car how many of the rivets?
All the rivets.
The rivets that held the aluminum because they didn't have F-150's technology.
Well, the F-150 is partly riveted together,
Well,
but,
it is, but I mean,
they hide the rivets. Yeah.
Very, very cool. But
This
you know,
is gorgeous.
these kinds of cars are things you just will never see on the street.
These are flights of fancy.
Yeah,
this is somebody's idea of something that's been done and just taking it a little farther. Of what Jean Bugatti would have done today if he were doing this car.
I'm absolutely in love with these, and that's why I think when you come to this show, as opposed to like the regular auto show, this stuff is just eye candy.
I'm not sure I'd want to drive this one. You notice how skinny those front tires are?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like that wide.
Yeah, and especially going down Jefferson. No, you'd have
yeah, those wire rims would
You'd
be
be at
gone.
Bell Tire fixing that in a hurry.
Absolutely. Bell Tire.
But there are other cars that you can actually recognize. And Chris, that's a little bit down here. Let's take a look down here.
Absolutely.
Well, can you imagine when you walk through the Autorama, when you just, all of a sudden your eyes are just drawn to some paint job that just, in this one, Chris,
Like it's 12 feet deep.
It's you could dive
Absolutely.
into that burgundy paint. This car, I mean, this is American cruising at its best.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the wheels on this thing. I mean, the chrome
This
is
thing's
amazing.
dumped down on the ground. The chrome work, the paint. I mean, this is what makes American custom
It's so big
cruising.
that I had to back up 20 feet to get it in the shot.
Well, let's face it, Cadillacs. And when you talk about American cruising, but that's not all. It's not just the custom cars and the paint job. Chris, they've actually pulled some really superb original concept cars out of the Sloan Museum. This one here, for example, the 54 Wildcat. Take a look at this. Now, when you look at this, Chris, in 1954, of course, you know, remember the Corvette came out in 1953.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see this car, you're saying, would Buick do something this radical on a sports car? I mean, it looks very Buick, but very 50s, but it has that Corvette flair.
Yeah, with the open fenders and
the portholes.
The portholes are cool. I like that.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, this is the actual 54 Wildcat. It says units produced, one. This is the kind of these one. Yeah, they built one of these.
And the fact is, it ran. You know?
Yeah, running and driving prototype.
That's so cool. I love the spotlight on the side there. I guess that's for when you either can't find the house or
Well,
maybe this is what the police drove.
If your pizza delivery driver from Papa John's is driving around on this, he's obviously
yes. Just send me one of those hamburger cheeseburger pizzas. You know, one of those. I'm set.
Folks, this is the kind of stuff where you'd have to go to a museum, but you're getting that sprinkle of concept cars of the 50s, the original auto company concepts, with concepts that are in everyday guys' minds. I mean, like this is just some guy's idea of what would be
Absolutely. And I mean, my head is about to explode in here.
Which is why the Autorama is so fun.
I really should wear a helmet.
Every time we look over each other's shoulder,
I
we
know,
see something.
looking over
and
there.
we're not even looking at each other. I want to go see this little drop top roadster. Well, I'll tell you what. Every time we are walking,
you know where we are. There's no doubt where we are because of the people movers
That's
going by.
But folks, here's the problem. You're deep into the show already, and we're barely out inside the front door of the Autorama.
Yeah, we're what, 3 rows in?
We can't help ourselves, Chris. Well, we spotted this 36 Roadster. Now,
This is gorgeous.
first of all, the 36 is cool enough because of that swept back grille and the suicide doors. But to
Actually,
see,
this is a 33.
oh, it's a 33.
Yeah.
Okay, now look at the top on this. This makes you. So he's got on a 33. He's got the late model 36 type grille on it.
Yep.
He's got like a Corvette modern day top, glass windows,
He's got
leather interior.
He's got the velocity stacks. With
tilt wheels. I mean, this,
everything.
This
is gorgeous.
is the quintessential kind of street rod that made Detroit famous. Fall in love with these kinds of cars, and you're going to see every iteration of 30s, 40s, and 50s stuff
Right,
here.
but you know the thing that I've always liked about Autorama that people forget about, it's not just these cars, the things that are done to the nines.
Yeah.
It's also everyday cars, things that guys, you know, the thing that they drive every day, or a modern car that they've done, or even something that they just restored.
Yeah, mom and dad's old grandpa's car?
Exactly. I came down here years ago and there was a 63 Falcon Sedan. The guy, he bought it from the dealer. It had been sitting in the dealer since 1963, and he took it, tore it all apart, redid it. Gorgeous.
And they entered the
All
Autorama.
that is
Well,
here.
Let's go see if there's some like that right here, right?
Absolutely.
Let's go see the kind of everyday cars that you, as an owner, might want to consider next year to enter into the Autorama. Come on, let's go. Well, here we are at the kind of like every man can take their car into the restoration shop, get some metal work done.
Oh, you can do anything if you have enough money.
Well, there's that old adage, like, all you need is time and money, right?
Yes.
And sometimes you need a little bit of luck and talent.
Oh,
Because
God, yes.
in this 57 Ford, to stick in a new 5-liter,
The Coyote motor.
that's just too cool. I mean, on the outside, you'd think you're looking at a 57 Ford.
Yep.
But on the inside, all modern technology, new suspension, and that's the cool thing. I mean, even an older car that you could take to the shop, maybe you found it up in Port Huron, out of a barn, you can get it restored, bring it to, I mean, you're looking at
You
cars.
can get most anything done in this area. It's amazing what you can find.
Look, even a 70 Javelin. I mean, come on.
What do you mean, even a 70
Well, who has a
These are
70?
cool.
Who has a 70 Javelin?
Well,
I mean,
obviously this guy does.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff that when you come to, so yeah, 30s, 20s, you got them. A little bit of 40s, lots of 50s. 50s iron is cool. 60s
well,
and 70s.
40s are going to be tough because there was the war.
Well, the war, yeah, kind of interrupted things. But no, I think a lot of the 70s cars and even into the 80s now are coming back. I mean, let's face it, you wouldn't see, let's say, an 80s vehicle.
Oh, well, I must say that we have not yet seen a tubbed and totally done out K car yet, but you know.
But I mean, a 70s, yeah, a 70s stuff is cool. We even have an 80s era Camaro. And so once you get into the 80s, folks, we're kind of reliving our childhood. These are all our car dreams. No matter what age you are, you can come and see how cars have progressed, especially in the mind's eye.
Not only that, this is like going to an art museum. You know, you've got Chip Foose, the Michelangelo of today, and you've got so many other people, the Raphaels, all these people who just have tremendous talent. And a lot of them are people you've never heard of. They could be your neighbor, but they, you know, they're die workers. They're guys who are moving metal anyway, and they know how to do this, and they do it so
Amazing
well.
stuff. Chris, now let's talk about that. They have a preservation society of how you can preserve some of the history and some of the cars over there. Let's go take a look at that.
Oh, that's cool.
But
Let's
on the
go.
way, let's go look at this Camaro over here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, the Autorama has a really colorful history. I don't know if you guys know this, but the Detroit Autorama started because of two groups of people, car clubs and street racers. Did you know that?
So I thought it was the Blood and the Crips, but that was L.A. Right?
No, that was LA. They were the Bananas. In Detroit, apparently a lot of us hot rodders who basically started out with these kinds of classic hot rods. Back in the day, that's what was driving around on our streets, drag racing at night. Kind of like they do have a problem in LA right now with street racing.
And we did too.
And we did too.
Woodward, Telegraph, you name it.
Gratiot, Telegraph,
God,
Woodward,
yeah.
they were all part of that street racing scene. When these hot rods, though, came on the scene, there was some trouble. And you know, hot rodding got a very bad name in Detroit because they said these guys are all criminals. They're all crazy.
Yeah, like they say about, guys who ride bikes. Oh, bikers,
Yeah,
you don't want to be around them.
My uncle is 70 years old and he drives a Harley. He doesn't have a tattoo on his body, but
No, he's a cotton top.
yeah, that's right. But he loves it. Anyway, so what happened was these guys finally got caught by this is a pretty famous story, a Livonia police officer, and he said to him, you're in the newspaper, you're getting a bad reputation. Why don't you guys go do that race legally? So when they were developing Livonia, Michigan, there was an old area back by a warehouse where he set off a piece of concrete and they let him race. He supervised it. But then he said, you really need to get your own place. So the idea came forth, why don't you have a car show? All these cars are really cool. People would pay maybe $1 to go see them. So they rented the Lake Guard Armory,
Right.
brought in all the guys in the club and the drag racers, brought in all their cars, charged $1. It was so successful, they raised so much money that they were able to buy a piece of property, start their own drag strip, build their drag strip out of friends who were electricians and carpenters. It was the first privately owned quarter-mile drag strip in the United States of America, all because the Autorama funded their own passion for them to go racing. So car clubs, racing, street racing, and the cool car hobby, the Autorama funded all that in Detroit.
Which drag strip was that?
It was the old Motor City Dragway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the first one.
Wow, I didn't know that.
To think about,
You're full of a lot of useless knowledge.
thanks about that. That's what Jenny says. So you think about all the wonderful stories that Detroit. I mean, this is why say what you will, Detroit is still the Motor City.
Oh, absolutely.
And when you see these, Chris,
230 Fords.
I mean, come on.
My
I mean,
God.
this is what it's all about.
This is it.
But you know what's happened since, folks? The original equipment manufacturers, the big,
OEMs,
big
yeah.
companies, they now all want a part of the action. So they bring giant displays and race cars and all their fancy stuff. Let's go take a look at here's GM right here.
Yeah.
Look at this. Well, as we said, Chris, not only does every guy in the street, the local clubs, some of the hot rodders, some of the custom car guys, some of the big names in custom cars show up at the Detroit Autorama. But guess what? The manufacturers are here now.
Absolutely.
Remember after a while, I mean, this was just a street rodder show. They wouldn't even be seen here.
Because remember, in the 1970s, we had the pollution control requirements, we had all the insurance malarkey that you couldn't have performance cars anymore, and they said, oh, we don't want to do that anymore because that's really inappropriate.
Yeah, you're all bad people.
Exactly, so they backed away from it.
Right.
And then they've realized that, you know what, performance sells.
Well,
People want, if you had nothing but electric cars, people would be racing electric cars.
This is so true, and a lot of people didn't believe that the manufacturers, here in this case General Motors, Ford and Chrysler all here, they didn't believe that they wanted to go rub shoulders with what they considered the great unwashed. These are hot rodders, the salt of the earth.
To which all I can say is get out of your office once in a while and go meet these people. They're buying your cars.
Well, remember when we worked at Auto Week, our publisher told me that he was kind of angry that I spent time at the Autorama with the great unwashed until our owner said his son had a quarter scale racer here and he wanted me to cover it. And all of a sudden it was okay to come here.
Of course.
Yeah.
If the boss wants it, of course I'm behind it.
But that just goes to show you there's big money. I mean, these cars may look like they're from some guy who did it out of a garage in Redford, but guess what? He could have $100,000.
I'll tell you, some of those cars coming out of the garage in Redford are gorgeous.
Right, and they're actually more money than the most expensive new car you can buy in most dealerships today.
Absolutely.
Which is why, places like General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler show
You got
up.
crate motors, you got seating, everything, transmissions, you name it. All the dress up for your Colorado or Canyon.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And they even have the new John Force race car. John, for all these years.
Now this is supposed to be a Camaro, right?
That's
that's a Camaro.
Well, the stickers. Yeah, that's right.
Which
is what it kind of what
sort of a
NHRA is
Camaro.
going through. It's a plastic bodied one-off. Yeah, it's a
That's why
crazy.
they call them funny cars, right?
They are funny. They are funny. But
It's
John,
funny that
after,
doesn't look like a Camaro.
after all these years setting records in a Mustang, now going with Camaro after Ford decided to go in a new direction. Courtney Force and his John's daughters are all going to be racing under
Right.
the Peak Antifreeze name, and that's why the car companies are still engaged in racing. Racing improves the breed. When you're out there improving yourself against the competition, there are a lot of fans, a lot of TV shows are tuned into it, and so
Right.
you want to connect with that audience. And by the way, they might buy your street Camaro. But
Well, yeah.
not only is GM Performance here, but Ford and Chrysler are both here.
Oh, let's go take a
Let's
look.
go take a look. Come on down. Well, as we were talking about, Chris, the manufacturers are not going to miss the Autorama just because
Absolutely not.
the customer that's here, if he's going to spend $10, $15, $20, $30,000
Or more.
yeah, on their car, And their regular driver car is going to have wheels, tires, different mods to it, maybe an engine enhancement of some sort.
These people really want to personalize their cars. They're important to them. It's their image. It's who they are.
So if your car that you bought, you just feel that it's great from the factory, but it's just a canvas to the way I want to live my life. It's an outward expression of you. This is why the original manufacturers here are here today, to try to meet with that customer and talk about all the things they offer. Now Ford, this truck is labeled Ford Racing, but we know that by the time the Autorama 2015 rolled around, it's already part of a new group called Ford Performance. Ford Racing, Ford Special Vehicle Team, or SVT, and Team RS all joined together in December to create this new Ford Performance organization, so that the racing, the parts, the community, and really the vehicles, all under one roof.
And it's about damn time.
It's a really good idea, Chris. I mean, to centralize it, why not?
Yes, absolutely.
It's
global.
Even though Mullally has gone from Ford, it was part of his One Ford plan. Everybody needs to talk to each other, especially when it comes to the enthusiast customer, because believe it or not, enthusiast customers are some of the manufacturer's best customers. One, they buy high-end cars or performance cars. Two, they usually buy a truck, but they tow their vehicle around. Trucks that's where Detroit prints
pure
money.
Profit, yeah. Pure
Yeah.
profit.
And then on top of that, they're more vocal. People in the community know that they're out there. They're the car people. So
they're the go-to guys.
Yeah, that's the one you come to ask for advice, right, Chris? So if you're in there, I bet you people know that you've spent all these years at the car magazine.
Yes, they listen to me, ask my opinion, and then they ignore me completely.
So you're what they call one of those online influencers.
No, I'm a human being. Anyway,
I can't
Mopar.
Yeah, Mopar.
But the funny thing about Mopar is, you want to buy stuff for your Fiat, you get it through Mopar.
It used to be the Mopar was for the Chrysler and Plymouth guy, the Dodge guy.
Yeah,
that he had.
absolutely.
But now that it's part of the Fiat
FCA,
FCA, Fiat Chrysler, you can buy, I guess, parts for your 500 through Mopar.
Absolutely.
They make truck parts, the same kind of idea with Ford Performance and Chevrolet Performance. It's the same idea. The manufacturers are here, they're meeting these top-end customers, and guess what they're also doing? I think they're getting ideas from us.
Yeah, I can feel it, because all my brain waves are leaving my head. I got to get that aluminum foil pretty quick.
Well, Chris has always had that problem ever since he appeared on My Friend from Martian.
My favorite Martian.
My favorite Martian.
Yes.
Chris is my favorite Martian.
Me and Bill Bixby, yes.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing they want to tap into. So where's your car? Believe it or not, designers are walking around.
Oh, absolutely. John Clor has been here a number of times. Guys from Ford have been here. Chrysler guys are here all the time. They get ideas. They get a lot of ideas. They talk to guys like Foose. Foose for a while was working for Ford as a consultant.
Right.
Worked on the 49, worked on the GT, helped them give some ideas. A lot of things like that. It was somebody you can bounce ideas off of. I remember coming here with Foose when I interviewed him at the auto show. And Kip Wasenko just stopped him dead in his tracks. Here's what we do with the seats. And Chip says, why didn't you do this? And showed him how it could be done in production.
And that's happening right here.
Absolutely.
You're actually shoulder to shoulder. And here's the other thing that's going on that you might not know. While you're walking around the Autorama, that guy standing next to you, he could be not a designer, but a marketer. He could be from the manufacturing marketing department. They're looking for trends. They're looking for the buzz. What are young people talking about? What is causing the stir? Where is it happening? Their job is to go out among the great unwashed, among us, the regular guys, the regular car people, and get their finger on the pulse beat of what's happening on the street.
Yes, they have to justify their job somehow.
Well, that's true. You can't do that. You can't do that in an office. Okay, now we have to, before we even close up here, there's so much more to see. We have to go check out some of the club cars and some of the cavalcade of customs that I personally love at the Autorama. Follow me, Chris.
Cool.
Well, you can't come to Autorama without checking out the cavalcade of customs.
Oh.
I love alliteration. Yeah.
And you can even spell it, too.
I did. Remember, in fact, when I worked at the Detroit News and Milt Wilcox was let go, they were trying to find a team to trade him to, but he was still pitching for the Tigers.
Right.
So I wrote a headline at the news that said, "Wilcox wins as lame duck label lingers."
Ooh.
Yeah. But speaking of lame, that was bad. But these are really cool, Chris. And this car was owned by a guy who used to employ us.
Keith Crane.
Keith Crane owns this
Then
beautiful.
He got smart and we left.
He owns this 51 Ford.
I'm sort of taken by the fact that it's got a Navigator motor and transmission in it, and it's supercharged.
But Well, that's kind of crazy, isn't
It
it?
is sort of. I would have put
But
a
you know-
Coyote motor in it.
Well, you know.
But that's me.
But this is the great stuff about all these custom cars here. It's find what you want and get what you like. If the body is an odd, like a 4-door, or not the high end, so what? You customize it. If the engine comes out of the junkyard, you can throw a blower on it.
There's
Or
so much you can do to it.
It's just
It's
the
your imagination. It's
your
the
real-
only thing limiting you, and your wallet.
Well, yeah, and then your wife telling you if you're going to buy one more car, you're
Or you can
in the
look over
garage.
there and you can see that there is even a bumper car over
They've
here.
got everything here. So why would no one? Why would someone think, well, I'm going to spend the weekend at home on a cold March weekend? Why would they do that?
Come here.
Yeah, come down
Come
here
here.
to the Autorama.
Get some ideas.
And get kind of the
Even
the,
if you don't do anything to your own car,
Right.
Just broaden your outlook. Of
you know what it
things.
does? It kind of makes you feel good that you're a Detroiter, and that there's so much creativity in this town. Oh, we got to go to Silicon Valley.
Baloney.
Really?
Yeah.
You think there's
and other things that begin with B.
Well, I really love
But
about
that's just me.
Well, let's go, because before we have to, we're running out of time already.
Are we?
Yeah, but we have to go check out some of these other customs, and then we'll make our selection of what we could drive out of here. If you had the keys, what would you drive out of here? How do you choose? You couldn't do it. You couldn't do
No.
it. Race cars, customs, everything's under the sun here.
Yes.
Well, let's go check out just some of these oldies but goodies before we
Cool.
go.
Let's go.
Well, you know what? I can't believe it, Chris. We've just scratched the surface here.
We just got here.
I know. We're running out of time, but folks, we did want to show that the Autorama
2
has-
shows here. Let's do 12.
We could stay here for all weekend, actually.
Oh, absolutely.
We're going to camp out in some of these cars. But this is the Preservation Award. I mean, so when you think about Autorama, you think about cars that are customized, but there are people that really appreciate the fact that you just preserved an old hot rod.
You bring it back to where it was. That's tremendous. I think people forget. They think of this as being a very narrow focus show, and it's very broad. You have sports cars here, you have race cars, you have hot rods, you have today's cars. It's amazing.
The problem is a lot of you young people out there, when you think of an old car, you're thinking of your mom's 1999 Civic. That's not an old car. No. We want you to come here and come to the Autorama and see some of your heritage, to see just how far, Chris, it really, to me, is amazing how far the car has come from, say, post-war, like 1950, through
And
just...
how beautiful some of these cars
They're stunning.
Just
cars-
unbelievable.
so now you can appreciate the design, the Detroit influence on cars as art. Really, because every one of these cars, rolling piece of art.
Right.
A challenge to today's designers, too. Why don't we make cars, instead of cookie cutter cars, make cars with real flair and personality?
Absolutely.
I mean, really,
Well, probably because there's all those regulations they got to meet, but
government regulation, that's right. It does take kind of the creativity out of things. Hi, guys. Yes. Well, that means that's our signal.
that's our signal.
It's time to go. It's the end of another Cars in Context show here at the Detroit Autorama. I want to thank Chris Sawyer of thevirtualdriver.com. Chris, we're going to be online watching you every time. Listen to all your great bits of wisdom.
Really?
Notice I said bits.
Bits, yeah.
Because I have the kibbles. So we want you guys to come back to Cars in Context. We'll do a couple more shows from the Autorama. But until next time, remember that knowledge is power. I've been your host, John Clor. Thanks for watching.